Hello, welcome to my channel. In my last video I was talking about how I'm planning to share with you the recipe of homemade fruit chocolate. It's a fairly easy recipe, and you wouldn't have to use any synthetic ingredients to create fruit, color and flavor. Only natural freeze-dried powders. So today I'm gonna show you how to turn plain white chocolate into fruit chocolate. I use this method a lot when I'm making a glaze for my gingerbread cookies. I will be using chocolate molds this time, but it's totally not necessary. You can make great looking chocolate bark instead. I'll leave a link to another YouTube video that shows how to do it. So to sum up, freeze-dried fruit and vegetable powders are a great alternative to artificial colorings and flavorings. For example, to create some delicious strawberry chocolate, you will only need one ingredient: freeze-dried strawberry powder. And there you have it! A chocolate with strawberry color, flavor and added nutritional value. I will also briefly explain how to temper your chocolate and what tempering is in general. So let's get to it! I'm going to make berry chocolate with two kinds of berries, blackberry and strawberry. If you watched my previous video, you know that I accidentally ordered 2 large cans of blackberry powder. This is how it looks. It has some seeds in it, but it's very finely blended, so it doesn't really matter. On the side note, you can buy whole freeze-dried berries or freeze-dried berry pieces, just like what I have here, if you don't have an access to berry powders. You can put freeze-dried berries into your blender, and as a result you will get the same powder. This is exactly what I did. And this is how my blended strawberries look. Those are my favorite white chocolate colettes. It's called Velvet from the brand Calibo. I hope I didn't butcher it. It's a 32% white chocolate, but you can also use your favorite white chocolate broken into pieces. Since each of my molds holds about 50 grams of chocolate, I am using 150 grams of white chocolate colettes. That's my chocolate mold. I bought it yesterday for about $7. As you can see, there are 3 molds, and it means that I will get 3 chocolate bars, each one about 50 grams. You can order similar ones on AliExpress, and the price will depend on the material. In my experience, the silicone ones are the cheapest and the polycarbonate ones are the most expensive. Now for tempering, I will be using 100% pure cacao butter powder. Also, you can replace this powder and use a little bit of unmelted chocolate instead. Now I have no idea how to pronounce it right. The brand of this cacao powder and of this chocolate is Calibo. This one is called Micrio. I will put a name of this product on the side of the screen. Now I bought this cacao powder for about $4 per 100 grams. It's really quite cheap considering that you will only need 1 gram per 100 grams of chocolate to temper it. I will talk more about tempering later on. This is my thermometer I always use for tempering chocolate. If you don't have this kind of equipment, it's still fine. You can just follow those basic steps I will be talking about and the result will be more or less the same. Some other things I will need to create my chocolate is my little culinary scales, some hazelnuts. Hazelnut goes great with both strawberries and blackberries. I will also use my freeze-dried strawberry pieces for decorations and additional taste, along with hazelnut. I'm also gonna need 2 bowls for 2 kinds of chocolate. Those are some IKEA measuring spoons. And those are some cute little paper bags I also bought yesterday. I'm going to use it as packaging for our chocolates. The next thing we gotta do is to melt our chocolate. For this, I'm going to use my microwave, but you can also do it in a double boiler. In that case, I like using my microwave a bit better than a double boiler, because you can control your temperature better and there is a lower chance of overheating your chocolate. Microwave doesn't heat your chocolate evenly, so you have to mix it thoroughly after the first 30 seconds. As you can see, my chocolate definitely isn't melted yet, so I'm going to put it in the microwave for about 15 seconds more. If your chocolate is melted at this point, this is where you should stop heating it. White chocolate shouldn't be heated to temperature higher than 40 degrees Celsius or 100 Fahrenheit. After I've mixed it, I can clearly see that it's melted completely. And to properly temper it, I'm going to measure it with my thermometer. As you can see, it's 33 Celsius, and it is a perfect temperature for adding my cacao butter powder or some of the extra pieces of unmelted chocolate. Since I am using 150 grams of chocolate, I have just added about 1.5 grams of cacao butter powder. So tempering in a nutshell is stabilizing cacao butter crystals after they've been destabilized by melting process. Cacao butter powder or chunks of unmelted chocolate are the two ways I use to temper chocolate. They seed necessary stable crystals and help the chocolate to stabilize again after it's been melted. And it results in a nice glossy chocolate that doesn't easily melt or break in your fingers. Also, tempered chocolate can and should be stored at room temperature in cool and dry place. I will begin with 1 teaspoon of blackberry powder. Mix it well with a spatula. Intense berry flavor usually comes with intense color, so it clearly isn't enough. I am adding 1 more teaspoon. Finally, some color is visible, but I'm definitely adding more. In goes another teaspoon, so I've added 5 teaspoons in total. Since 1 teaspoon of freeze-dried powder is approximately 1.5 grams, it's 7.5 grams of blackberry powder per my 75 grams of chocolate, about 10 grams in 100-gram chocolate bar. I've also noticed that the color of those powders intensifies a bit over time. Also, before you do the other kind, my advice would be to reheat it a little bit for 5 to 10 seconds in the microwave. Now it's time to make some strawberry chocolate. I'm starting with 2 teaspoons of strawberry powder. Don't forget to taste it while you're adding your powder. Also, I genuinely think it's impossible to forget to do that. This is what my chocolate looks like with 4 teaspoons of strawberry powder. And that's what our 2 chocolates look like. So the point is that I tried to make a sort of marble effect by pouring 2 different chocolates into my confectionery bag and then adding this mix to my molds. But unfortunately, blackberry and strawberry chocolates pretty much merged together in my bag, and I would barely see the marble effect in my chocolate bars in the end. The solution would be to add 2 colors in 2 separate bags and pour them in the molds, holding 1 bag in each hand. There is a good trick. You should try and add your chocolate to a warm mold. I heat my molds with a regular hairdryer for a brief moment before pouring in my chocolate. This helps to avoid temperature shocks and makes it easier to get the chocolates out when they're ready. Actually, the chocolate is a bit more thick than it should have been. It was already quite hard to work with. If you have a thermometer, don't forget to check the temperature from time to time. Or you could reheat your chocolate very carefully just before adding it to molds. When melted white or colored chocolate is below 27 degrees Celsius, it rapidly starts to set. After you've poured your chocolate inside, you should smack your mold on the counter firmly for a couple of times to get rid of the bubbles. Here you can see a little bit of marble effect on the chocolate. Now I'm adding freeze-dried raspberry pieces over the hazelnut. Don't worry, most of the decorations will stick. Only small pieces that landed on top of other decorations would probably fall off when you'll pick up chocolates after setting. I don't recommend refrigerating chocolate. The perfect temperature for setting and for keeping chocolate is about 15 degrees Celsius. You should give your chocolate quite a few hours in a cool and dry place. Hello everyone! I left my chocolates overnight to cool and set completely, and now it's time to see how they turned out. It's definitely not suitable for a gift anymore, so I can eat it right away. My suggestion would be that it happened because I have no patience. Story time. I walked into my kitchen right before bed yesterday, took a mould and pressed my fingers on the backside of the mould. I actually heard a tiny crackle. I guess I wanted to see if the chocolate comes out. Don't be like me. You have to let chocolate set completely for about 3 hours in the fridge or a few hours in a cool place, like near an opened window. And again, I recommend properly tempering your chocolate prior to that. Come on. Give me a second. Berry flavors go so nicely with white chocolate. It replaces some of the sweetness with a bit sour taste. I believe that roasted nuts are more flavorful, but you can substitute them with raw nuts, of course. And I'm sure that almonds will go great with it too. Now I'm going to put both of the remaining chocolate bars in paper bags. So again, this is how they look. You can also buy bags with transparent plastic display, but paper bags like this are better for the environment though. In conclusion, I obviously think it's delicious, plus I really love white chocolate by itself. So if you're someone with the same dessert preferences, go ahead and try this recipe. You can make it more simple and just use one kind of freeze-dried powder. Strawberry chocolate seems by far the most popular option. If you found this video useful or interesting, leave a like, subscribe to my channel. I will be posting more videos soon. Bye!